We are live. All right, guys. Thank God it's Friday. Happy Friday. I'm super excited to have my guest today, Willy Larreal. Hi, Willy.
Hi, everybody.
So we have a lot to get to, and I wanted you to introduce yourself first, but we're basically going to be talking about Willy's goal. His goal is to get to a sub 10-hour Ironman, a full Ironman in under 10 hours. And we've been working hard for the past, 6 to 8 months, and we just had the opportunity, or he just had the opportunity of racing at Ironman Maryland. And although things didn't go perfectly and the swim was shortened, he still did achieve an amazing PR. And I just wanted to share about his journey to the process. And then, of course, we're going to ask him what is next. But Willy, go ahead and introduce yourself. What do you do for a living?
Hi, well, everybody already know my name is Willy Larreal. I'm from Venezuela. I've been living here in the United States for around 15 years. I'm a civil engineer. I work in a general contractor company. I'm the director of operations here for the Miami office. Being in the triathlon journey since 2014. So I've been working out, training for 9 years.
9 years, yeah. What are some of the races that you've done?
I have done, this is my third, the past weekend I completed my third Ironman, but I did Ironman Texas, Ironman Florida, and this time I did Ironman Maryland. Okay. I have done more than between 20 to 30 half Ironmans and Olympic and sprint.
Right, so you would consider yourself a veteran of the sport, correct?
More in the half distance. I think in the long distance, I still have a lot to learn, and that's why I joined Full Circle, because I know Erinne have a lot of experience, and she's gonna help me to get to my goal.
Yes, so that is the ultimate goal. So how did we meet?
Well, Erinne was working with my wife Christine before. And Christine mentioned it to me, you should meet with Erinne. She's awesome. You should try. She insisted for a long time. Actually, it was a gift from her that she bought a package so I can start with Full Cycle. I try, and I definitely realized that she's an amazing coach. And from now on, we're still working together.
Yeah, so that was in the beginning of the year in 2023. And I didn't know much about you at all, right? So when we first started, we definitely had to dig in and do all of the assessments, and I had to get to know you as an athlete. And the one thing that I can say for you for sure is that you are dedicated to the sport. Would you say that's true?
Yes, I definitely love the sport. Like everybody loves different sports. My sport is triathlon. I really like it. I can watch an Ironman on TV for 8-9 hours. It doesn't bother me at all. I enjoy watching it.
Yeah, so it's in your blood, and your wife too. I mean, she started with me with triathlon, and now she's doing mostly swim races, but you guys are both serious competitors, and you also have an amazing son, Lorenzo, which we love. So it's not like you guys aren't busy, and you're not a busy professional and a great father and a great husband. But the fact that you're still able to prioritize your training, and you can see the benefit of having a coach to help make every single workout count. So you're not like out there wasting time, because you have a life to live, right? Outside of triathlon. Would you say that's true?
Yeah, that's correct. I always say that they have 24 hours. It's up to you how you organize yourself and try to achieve everything you want to achieve in the day. But if you want to progress in triathlon, you need to be consistent. So you have to put the time, and you have to put the training, because if not, you're going to get stuck, or you're going to get worse or where you were.
Yeah, exactly. So before we met, you've already had a lot of success. You did a lot of great half Iron. What's your PR at the half Ironman distance?
My PR in the half Ironman before I met you was 4:52. But as soon as I started working with you, we went down to 4:38.
Right. We had a really big PR at the end of last year. That's right. I forgot about that. That was when we just first started. I forgot. It's almost been a whole year. So cool. And then your goal, you did Ironman Florida and you did Texas. What were the times at those two races?
Well, Ironman Florida, I did it in 12 hours and 30 minutes, and Ironman Texas, 11 hour 15.
Okay.
This time was 10:04 with a short swim, but we definitely will be at least under 11 hour for sure with the whole swim.
Right. So you would have still PR'd even with the shortened swim, but with the shortened swim, you ended up doing a 10:04 at Maryland. And there are going to be some people saying, oh, you know, whatever, it wasn't a full race, but you dealt what you're dealt on race day, and there's no control. You don't have any control over that. And honestly, we still can't figure out why they shortened the swim, because the conditions weren't even that bad. And I know how frustrating it is when you've trained so hard to swim the 2.4 and then you don't even have the opportunity to see what's possible for yourself. It's very frustrating. How did you feel in that moment when you found out that they shortened the swim?
I was really upset because I was ready for the swim, and that actually the people don't realize that when you already visualizing doing the whole thing, if they short something, you have to adjust, and we didn't have the enough time to adjust because it was just the morning before the race, and that actually changed the whole plan, and you don't have time to make adjustments, so you just have to go with the flow. But I was having the swing of my life during the short swim. It was a great condition. I don't know why they shorted, but you know, at the end of the day, it is what it is, and you have to make lemonade from the lemons. So
yeah, you had to make lemonade from the lemons. And that is where I would like to commend you on racing a lot, because the more you race, the more you're able to adapt and overcome to any situation that's happened. Have there been any other like races that you've done or participated in where you got thrown a loop for, but you still like continued? Was there any, I mean, you've done a lot of racing. So are there any other like mishaps or things where they changed the situation and you were able to overcome and adapt?
yeah, I've been in races that they have eliminated the swing completely, but in that case it was really bad weather. It was in the middle of the storm.
Right.
I remember it was in Central Florida, the race, and we really were in the middle of the storm, and I was using the rear disc in my bike, and I didn't have any other wheel to use because I was not prepared for that. Right. And that bike moved all over the place. Like I was at some point, I was in the middle of the road, I was all the way to the right. It was very, very, very tough race.
Yeah, so I'm a huge fan of racing, and it's hard to race a lot of Ironmans, right? So choosing to race the 70.3, in my opinion, was really, really smart of you to get really, really skilled at the 70.3. And we're not done, right? You have a goal of going sub 5 at or actually you already did 4:38, but what's your sub 4:30 is the goal for Clash, right? Yeah. So
yes.
You know, I'm a big believer that you can't go fast and go long at the same time. So if we're working on speed, I think speed is a component of every Ironman's journey, especially if they're looking to get faster. So the goal for December at Clash is a sub 4:30. And then I think you've already decided about your next full Ironman. And we're going to get into the details of Maryland in a minute. But what's the goal after Clash this year?
Well, the goal is go back to the Ironman distance. I want to do Ironman Texas. It's a course that I already did, so I know the course.
Yeah.
I think it's in April, so it helps you here to train during the winter, so it's not that hot, and you can complete because that's one of the things that I missed for this race was to do those super days because it was too hot. It was almost impossible to complete 8 hours here in Miami during the day. But I think doing the training during the winter here, which is not that much different, it's still hot, but I think we can achieve those super days, which I believe they're really important.
Yeah, that sounds like an awesome plan. I'm super excited about that. And I agree with you that training through the winter in Miami is just that 10 degrees cooler, but it's also the less humidity that's going to allow us to really get the harder training in to get the sub 10-hour race. So this brings us to the main factor of what happened in Maryland. But let's start from the beginning. So, we had already visualized that sub 10. It was completely doable based on all your testing, everything that we'd analyzed. You were hitting all your numbers to hit sub 10. And in my training program, we don't guess at the sub 10. We go into race day knowing it's possible based on the testing in the training. So we do swim tests, we do bike tests, we do run tests every 6 to 8 weeks to see yourself improving, right? And then we obviously have those power numbers, we have those speed numbers, those pace numbers, and we're applying them to the full Ironman distance. And of course, spending the hours, right? So you had one major bike workout that you were hitting all the power zones that we needed. In the 100 miles, we had an amazing 20-mile run. I remember you killed that run despite it being so warm. Like you told me, you finished and you're like, okay, I can do this. Like you had the confidence. And honestly, in your swimming, probably the biggest technique change was your swim, in my opinion. And even though the swim was the shortest part of this race, it still affects your fatigue level in the bike and the run. So the more you're efficient in the swim, the less you're wasting energy. So you have more energy to do the bike and the run. So we had done all the work. We had, done all the details, and we knew this was completely possible. We had 3 different race goals: a 9:40, a 9:59, and then a 10:30. So we went into race day, and we already talked about the swim, how disappointed you were that it was not full distance, but you were still able to hit the paces. I think you did a 150 per 100 meter swim, right? And that was the goal, right? It was between 145 and 150 for the full distance. And was it wetsuit legal or no wetsuit legal?
Yeah, it was wetsuit legal. I think if we would have done the whole swing, it would be even better, because I was just getting into the rhythm when I just warmed it up. That was like 1,000 yards or 1,000 meters. So if we wouldn't done the whole swing, it will be a better pace, actually.
Right. You even did a 2-mile swim, a few weeks ago, and you were able to hold, I think it was like a 140 pace, right? So we had already known that you could hold that pace, right? Without the wetsuit, right? So we were really, really confident that the swim was going to happen. So it is what it is on the swim. We did think you would have some cushion, right? To then have more, but it's just like you said, it threw you off. It wasn't in your plan to go so short on the swim. So all the logistics had to change. And let's talk about what happened on the bike. So you were out there on the bike, and tell me like what you felt like happened as we discussed on our post race.
Well, the bike was very windy because there was a storm close by the race. There was not raining at all, but it was very windy.
Yeah.
At the beginning, right?
Yeah.
So at the beginning of the bike, I feel amazing. I was hitting the numbers really fast, really easy. So I was averaging the speed that I needed to average, which was 22 miles per hour, and I did it for the half of the race. I think the problem that happened in the bike was I was worried about the carbs, so I was taking the carbs, but I didn't take into consideration the sodium and the electrolytes, because I have it in my bottles, but I just have 2 bottles, and I keep taking water from the stations and diluting what I have with the water, and I was losing the sodium and the electrolytes that I have in my bottles. Right. So I was not concerned because I was not sweating, but after talking to you, when I realized my dry suit was all white, is because it was a cooler condition than in Miami. The sweat dried fast, but I still was sweating. So right. That's a lesson that I learned. I had to take more in consideration the hydration for during the race. It's not just the carbs; it's the fluids that you have to take, and the sodium.
Yeah, because everybody's your sweat level changes, right? Based on the conditions. And like you said, you weren't actively sweating, but you were still sweating, and it was drying quickly as you noticed. And then you took action after you figured out, because you started to feel like you couldn't produce power and you didn't know why, right? You were yes. Out there, you're like, why are my watts dropping? I can't figure it out. I'm taking my nutrition, I'm drinking. but he was diluting his electrolyte mix. So it was actually less salt and more water. And that can cause issues as far as you performing, right? As far as you being able to push if you don't have your electrolytes balanced, right? So when you figured it out and what did you start doing? You started supplementing with salt tablets, right? Or salt capsules?
Yes. So it was very late on the bike, but I remember that I have some tablets on my bike pocket, and I started taking 2 pills every 15 minutes, and I started feeling better. It was very weird what I was feeling, because I was not tired. It was that just I couldn't produce the power that I needed to produce.
Yeah.
Once I started taking the sodium again, I started getting into a better rhythm, but that was the end of the bike.
Right. It was too late, but we still have the run left over, right? So after you started upping the salt intake, and then you got on your schedule for the carbohydrates for the run. You kind of started to, well, what decision had you already made? That was the one thing that we talked about, your mindset. Well, what happened?
Yes. Well, when I didn't hit the goal in the bike, I was really disappointed. And first, I took the time that I needed to regroup in the transition. So I have a long transition of what I was expecting. But I regroup. I think let's finish this. But I tried to do it in a safety way that I know that I could have finished. Even though I feel good when I started the run, I should have tried to do the goal that we were planning for the run. But I took the decision to make it safe, and I just finished the race. So I finished strong the run.
Right. So you had a decent run, but you didn't have the run that we know that you're both capable of. We both know that you're capable of, just because you had already said, okay, well, it's over. I didn't do what I wanted to do on the bike. So my ultimate, my goal time at the end is not going to be where I wanted to be. So I'm just going to phone it in. Right. And that is a difficult decision in the moment. And it's very hard, because that's your ego. And we all have this situation where your ego is like, well, it's too late now. So you're just going to finish strong, but maybe not suffer as much, because it would be more suffering to make that sub 10, right? And you knew that.
Yes.
It wasn't like you quit. You didn't quit at all. But I wanted to highlight to Willy, when we did our post-race review, I just wanted to highlight like the example of like Christian Blumenfeld, when he had like those cramps and he was in the professional race, the PTO race, and everybody was writing him off. Like, he had 2 minutes where he was trying to massage his leg, and they're like, well, that's it. He's completely out of the race. And he ended up getting third place, right? So he wanted to win, but he didn't ever turn off the mindset of, I'm still going to kill it. I'm still going to kill it. And that's honestly a lesson learned, right? That's an opportunity that you can now know that you don't have to throw the baby out with the bathwater, meaning, hey, that section is over, but who knows what's going to happen in this run. I could still push for it, and I could still get the sub 10. And it's not like you didn't get the sub 10. So I'm a big believer in shouting out to the universe. That's so funny. I just said that and your lighting went off. But before the race, we do have the race goal, right? We had the 9:40 time goal. We had the 9:59 time goal. And then we had our worst option was a 10:30, which would still have been a 45-minute PR, right? So the universe still delivered like the time, right? Because you got a 10:04, right? You had a 10:04. The universe didn't know that the swim would be shortened, right? So you still, honestly, you achieved the goal, Willy. And I just want to say how proud I am of you, just because you did work hard. The last year you have worked so hard. Your training peaks is green 90% of the time. When it's a recovery week, you take the recovery, you do your ice baths, you do your sauna, you do your stretching, you put in the time, and the results speak for themselves. So I just want to say, like, yes, it wasn't the perfect dream, but I got to tell you, I don't know if you've heard Jan Frodeno ever talk about it, but how many years has he been racing since he was 18 years old? And he said he had like 3 perfect races. Like, they're never perfect. Like, there's always an issue. And the longer the race, the more logistics that you have to make quick decisions about and just keep going. And I just want to say, I'm so proud of you, because you did that. You didn't quit. You didn't let it get you so flustered. And the good news is the next day after the race, he's like, okay, are we doing Texas or what's next? Right. Or you said, no,
Well, 2 day after, it's not the next day.
2
The
days
next
after,
day,
he's like,
yes.
he texts
Yeah,
me, Texas question mark. I'm like, yes, let's do it, right? So the fact that we're going to take some time now to recover, how are you feeling, by the way?
I feel good. I feel ready to go. But I really took the time to rest this week. I haven't done absolutely anything.
You deserve it. You deserve a solid break. And I feel like a lot of people don't realize that we're not professional triathletes, guys. We're not training the next day like these other guys are, because Willy has a job. He's a father. He's a husband. You know, it's nice to take a whole week to actually be a normal person and not be so committed to the sport, you know, and regroup, right? But it's also physiologically that your body needed a break. Your mind needed a break from triathlon, right? And so I'm super
Yes.
excited for what's next, because we are going to reassess everything. I want to do video analysis across the board. And I'm super excited also because we have some time, even though you're going to be doing Clash, I really want to work on your strength. And I think that a
Yes.
little bit more weight training through the winter season, like December, January, is going to clinch and cinch the deal for the Texas sub 10 hours. And like I said, your performance and everything has improved, and we're not done. I truly believe that every single athlete, if they're paying any attention to their own technique, always has something to work on, and every little detail matters, especially if you're trying to get faster. So Willy, are you excited about what's coming, or anything else you want to share?
Yeah, very exciting. Yeah, and it's good to. It's sad that you don't achieve your goals, but it's good that you find what are the mistakes that you did and you have to try to fix it for the next time. It's actually excited because now I want to do a sweat test. I want to know what is my ratio of sodium that I'm losing.
Yes.
And I'm with you 100%. I need to do a strength so I can keep my position in the bike, because it's very aggressive and I want to hold it so I can go fast. So it's something that excites me and I want to do it quick.
Awesome. Okay, well, I'm super excited. Let's do it. Well, congratulations, Willy. We're super proud. Of course, also the Full Circle community. I mean, I don't know, I give a shout out to them because, you know, on race day, did you feel supported?
Yes, 100%. Thank you so much for everybody that cheer for me.
Yeah, so our group chat goes crazy on race day. If you're not careful, you'll have 200 texts in there on race day because we're all rooting for you. All right, Willy. Well, I hope you have an amazing, relaxing weekend. This is it. You're back on track next week. So I'm wishing you well, and let's go get that sub 4:30 and the sub 10 at your next Ironman.
Let's do it.
All right.
Let's do it.
All right, let's do it. Have a good one, guys. Bye.
Thank you, everybody.